What's up, YouTube? Like I said in my last video for my recap for Seaver versus McGregor, I'm sorry for not putting this up. For some reason my computer wasn't uploading videos, but now it is. So, yeah, just sorry for not putting this up sooner. It's just that I couldn't. So I'm gonna start at the bottom. This is Gustafsson versus Johnson predictions. First fight: Neil Sperry versus Chris Beal. This fight's just kind of weird just because Chris Beal doesn't have a lot of finishes on his record. Even though he's a great striker, he's only got like 2 or 3 knockout wins. And Neil Sperry, I think, has a big advantage on the ground. I'm going to go with Beal, though. I think he keeps this fight standing. And he's able to just pick his shots and win by a decision. Next is Victor Pesta versus Urko Hinkin. This guy's this weird Russian name. I don't know how to say it. I'm gonna go with Pesta just because I think he's had that UFC fight already. He's gotten the jitters out. I think he's a little bit brighter of a prospect too. I think he just lost his debut against a really good striker, and that's it. But I think Pesta's gonna start, working his way towards the top now. I don't know how high he's gonna get, but I think he's a pretty solid prospect. Next is Paul Redman versus Betrick. I'm gonna go with Betrick. I don't know how to say his name, but once again, I've seen some videos on him. He looks like a pretty solid prospect. I don't know a whole lot about either of these guys, but I've seen more stuff on Betrick, which is why I'm gonna go with him. I think he just looks a little bit better. Next is Turbak Taishumov versus Anthony Christoulo. These guys have some of the craziest names. Like, if you guys should look this shit up. I mean, these dudes have some of the craziest names I've ever seen in my life. But I know how to say Turbak Taishumov because he's fought in the UFC like 3 or 4 times already. I'm gonna pick Taishumov. I think he's a really good striker with solid jiu-jitsu. And like I said, this is his like 4th or 5th fight in the UFC, and he's lost 1, but he's won the other 2 or 3. So I think he's a solid prospect too. Next is Nikita Krylov versus Stanislav Nedkov, and Nedkov to me is a one-trick. He just throws big haymaker strikes and hopes something will land, and he shoots for takedowns and he has good ground and pound, but he gasses really quickly. To me, Nikita Krylov, at light heavyweight, he looks like a solid prospect. Even though he's 1-1, his loss was to OSP, and that's not that bad of a loss in my opinion. I think his his striking is definitely much better, and I think his jiu-jitsu is good enough where he can minimize the damage and just wear Nikita Stanislav Nedkov down. And I'm gonna pick Nikita Krylov. I think he wins by TKO, maybe late second, early third. Next is Andy Ogle versus Amir Kilana. I'm gonna pick Amir. To me, Andy Ogle just hasn't been looking very good recently, and I think Amir has a really good shot of pulling off. I think it's a slight upset. Next is Sultan Olivi versus Kenny Robinson, and I'm gonna go with Sultan. He's a really good striker. I think he'll be able to keep this fight standing, and I know he has a combat sambo background, so I think he'll be able to keep this fight standing. His striking's pretty good. It's definitely better than Kenny Robinson. I think he'll get a late knockout, maybe late second knockout for Sultan. Next, Albert Trumov versus Nico Masoke. This fight to me depends entirely on if Nico can get this fight to the ground. If Nico can get this fight to the ground, he'll win easy. If Albert keeps this fight standing, he's probably going to get the knockout. I'm going to go with Nico just because I think he's been training with Alex for this fight, and it's in Sweden, so hopefully he came super prepared with his wrestling, and I think Nico's going to get a submission win, maybe like a rear naked choke win. On the main card, Akira Corsani versus Sam Sicilia, and this fight's weird just because, to me, the fight with Robbie Peralta really showed me that Akira's good at dodging power punchers, and he knows how to point fight guys who aren't really great strikers, but at the same time, Sam Sicilia, I think, has really good wrestling. So if he can mix it up good, I think he could definitely get the knockout win. This one's hard just because of that. I think Akira's got the better conditioning, and the later it goes, the better chance he'll have of finishing it, but I'm gonna go with Sam. I think if he uses his wrestling and his striking, mixing them together well, he should be able to get the knockout. So I'm gonna pick Sam Sicilia by knockout. But like I said, this fight to me is really close. Next, Phil Davis versus Ryan Bader, and to me, I think Bader's the much better striker. I think Phil's probably a little bit better of a wrestler, but I think Bader's wrestling's more than good enough. Just like Anthony Johnson, I think his wrestling's good enough where he can keep this fight standing, and I think he'll be able to just win a decision. I think his boxing is a lot better than Phil Davis's striking. So I'm going to pick Bader, 30-27. I think he keeps this fight standing, and he just uses his better striking to get the decision. Next, Dan Henderson versus Gegard Mousasi. And Gegard showed me in his last fight that, you know, his wrestling is really shitty. I mean, I remember it looked like it was starting to get better, and then all of a sudden, it's like, he looked like how he looked against King Mo in his last fight. Like, he couldn't stuff takedowns, and he has a hard time getting up. You know, he's got decent jiu-jitsu off his back, but a really strong wrestler can negate that. So I'm going to pick Dan Henderson. I think Dan Henderson's wrestling is just, you know, it's at least as good as King Mo's is, and I think he can just keep this guy on the ground for 3 rounds. Gegard's wrestling, you know, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to the Gegard who fought Mark Munoz, because that Gegard didn't show up for the Mousasi fight, that's for damn sure. And I don't think that Gegard showed up for the Henderson fight. So I'm going to pick Dan Henderson. Easy 30-27, in my opinion. I think he'll be able to take him down, hold him down. Boring fight, but easy 30-27 for Dan Henderson. Next, Alexander Gustafsson versus Anthony Johnson. I think that the first 2 rounds will be pretty competitive, pretty back and forth, but I think after that, Gustafsson's size is really going to make the difference. I think Anthony Johnson's a muscular guy, but he's really not that big of a fighter. And I think that, you know, he probably could be fighting at middleweight. It's just he has so much muscle. And I think after the 2nd round, we're going to see, you know, the striking and the size is going to add up. And I think Gustafsson's going to be able to take him down, take his back, and win by rear naked choke. So that's why I got Gustafsson winning by either 3rd or 4th round rear naked choke. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.